So it's just like filming right now.
Yeah. I hit it and I'll like take all the shit out when I need to, or I'll keep it in because it's great. Hiya folks, it's Jocelyn and welcome to Yogi with a Book. Today we are at BookNet Fest and I am here with Nina Moreno, who I guess I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit, an elevator pitch of your book before we get into it.
I'm Nina. I'm the author of Date Rosa Santos. It's about a Cuban American girl who's been told her entire life that she's been cursed by the sea. And so now she wants to go to college, but she has to tell her abuela that she wants to do study abroad in Havana. This is something her family doesn't talk about. So it deals with the intergenerational trauma while also sort of examining fun rom-com beats because, of course, Rose is going to fall in love with the person that she's been told her entire life she's cursed to, kill, I guess. That's
Inadvertently.
Inadvertently, doom, that's romantic, right?
Yeah, totally. Right off the bat, you already mentioned that she's Cuban American, obviously. I am, you are. We've talked about this a little bit before. But what I loved so much, like right off the bat, and I've mentioned it before, is this book got me crying in 2 pages because I feel like you've so quickly got to, I think, a very universal Cuban American experience, even though we all have different relationships with Cuba from our families, of just missing the island and having that piece of you that you're missing. Would you mind talking a little bit about what that was like writing it?
What was interesting about writing Rosa is I knew I wanted to do a rom-com. I wanted to do something fun and romantic, and I just saw this girl sitting on a bench, thinking about college, pretending the sea was somewhere else every day, somewhere new and exciting. But then as Rosa was looking forward towards college, all of a sudden, all the past kept coming up because it's like, to move forward, we almost have to deal with our past. And then I knew she was going to be Cuban American, but I didn't know that I'm going to have to write about Cuba. Like, I'm going to have to do that. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal because so much of it feels like, well, how much of this is my story to tell? Even though it is shaped and colored, my entire relationship with my culture, with my language, with my family. So much about Cuba as a descendant of exile feels like, well, that's not mine. A line that a lot of Cuban readers have, come to me about is the idea of this was the heirloom I couldn't touch. Like, it's up there. It is, a shadow over everything, and yet how much of it is mine to interact with. And I think especially this comes up a lot with Cuban Americans who don't necessarily live in Miami. Because I think Miami, it's really easy to be Cuban American, but who are we when we go even further away from the island? So it is a story based in Florida, but I wanted to tell a Cuban American story that wasn't necessarily in Miami, and what is our relationship then with our culture and our identity, and can we examine it? Can we be in conversation with it if we are a generation removed?
Well, I think you nailed it. I also had those college feelings of I need to go to Havana.
Yeah.
And I love all of these different ways that she searches for that history that a lot of our families don't talk about and Rosa's family doesn't talk about. And I definitely connected with that as well. And when I went to Havana, there was a lot of like, did my grandpa walk here?
Right.
Like, how much of this is different?
So you've been?
I have.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I went 3 years ago on a study abroad trip.
Oh my God, you're Rosa!
That's why I'm wearing yellow, yeah.
With the Cuban identity, it's so interesting how many sort of markers we give ourselves, and that is something I think is a diaspora experience for a lot of kids. Is how am I still this if I'm also this? And your whole story is the fact that you're here. Your life is in the identity. You get to be both, even if both changes with your experience. You don't have to give one up, hanging outside the door to go into the room. So I wanted Rosa to really sort of voice those feelings of, well, maybe if my Spanish got better, maybe if I because this is your family, this is your identity, and yet you are so always feeling like it's like a phantom limb almost, like you're reaching for something and it's not there, and that's a weird way to experience your own family history.
Yeah, and especially because I think in the States a lot, we just talk about Latinx identity as this sort of giant thing when it's far more nuanced. And one of the easiest ways that people can point to being Latinx is speaking Spanish. And that struggle of like being in the hyphen, and she even says like not being enough and not feeling enough. And like, I've been told these cultural markers mean that I am this, but if I don't hit that, what am I?
Something I struggle with a lot with the Latinx identity is when we start to become almost performative of it.
Yeah.
Where I have to throw in that Spanglish word for you to sort of validate the fact that I just said I'm Cuban American. And it might, if it flows, it flows, but when it feels like I have to perform this, I have to perform my identity to be counted and accepted, when the identity itself is so broad, like the amount of countries and languages, and that's why it's really important to me as part of Las Musas that we continue to expand, and like it's a really big deal to us that Maika and Maritza, that you see them and you understand that Haitian Americans can identify as Latinx, and so the performative aspect is exhausting.
Yes,
yeah.
It kills me. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up Las Musas, because one of the reasons that I think we sort of got in touch was through Las Musas and then Latinx Book Club, which is how I got the art. You sent it my way. What sort of things are you looking forward to with Las Musas? What sort of, because I know you've been there, I think pretty much from the beginning, right? I guess what's sort of your personal goal through that community?
Is to just continue expanding what it is to be Latinx, Latina, whatever it is, and for us to not feel as though I need to be representative of this. I want more Cuban American stories. I want different perspectives. Sometimes it feels like there was one way to be Cuban American, and it's if you live in Miami. And if, like me, you leave Miami, at a young age, do I not get to sort of count that? Do I not get to sort of call myself also Cuban, or do I have to constantly, talk about Pitbull for people to think it's okay that I call myself Cuban? Mm-hmm. So I want to expand the idea of what it is to be Latinx. I want people who are telling their stories to not feel the weight of having to count for everyone. Yeah. But I also want us to continue to do the work and be in conversation of, well, I'm a light-skinned Latina. I am not the be-all, end-all of what the Cuban American story is. Afro-Cubans, have this entire history and story, and I don't want every time a Cuban story to be told, it's by a girl who looks like me. Yeah. With Las Musas especially, the whole reason we started it was because we looked around and said, wow, there are quite a few of us who are publishing at the same time. Before publishing can turn us into each other's competition and make us feel like, oh, there's one seat at the table, the only person getting marketed this year is going to be you. We were like, no, we're going to be out loud about being supportive of each other. But we also know we are a majority white Latinx group still. So these are the books that are being published, but the louder we get, more, diverse Latinx stories hopefully get deals and are seen as profitable.
Yeah. I love that. I like that. And talking about representation, can you think of a piece of media that you first saw yourself where you're like, oh, okay.
Right. It was always like, to relate to something, I had to shelve the Latina part, because it was like, well, Latinas are Shakira. They are, curvy and this and that, and I'm not that. So I guess I can't really feel represented under the Latina umbrella, but I can find bookish, awkward girls. Oh, there's Rory Gilmore, and just sort of shelve the rest of me. So honestly, one of the biggest deals for me was Jane the Virgin, was finding a romantic, funny, playing with telenovela tropes, but sort of laughing at them while also respecting them and saying this is a format of storytelling that we enjoy or whatever. So Jane was a really big deal. Finding Zoraida Cordova's books, like the Brooklyn Brewer series, was like, oh, like we can have fantasy, like inspired by a wide span of our culture and stuff, but also be about an American girl dealing with American stuff, it doesn't have to be a story from over there, it can be about from here.
Yeah, I think that the first Cuban American woman that I was like, oh, was Melissa Fumero on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Also because she's like a super dork. Yes. She's such a dork, and it's just like, oh, that's all of me right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amy. I love the fact that Brooklyn Nine-Nine has both Amy and Rosa. So you have two ideas of what a Latina can be, and it's funny, and it's...
And when they get to interact together and like Las Musas, like get to lift each other up. They're never in competition,
right.
Which is for
That's
so
all I wanna
long, like we didn't see that.
Over and over, all I want to see is Latinas hanging out and being as different and weird as we can possibly be. Like,
So going back to, I think, connecting with heritage and everything, one easy marker that I have found is through food. Like I can't think of mango and like not think of my grandpa because he was the first one that like I had mango with. And
did he put salt on it?
No, but he was like, okay, so when he cut it up, he was like, you have to eat it off the skin. He's like, this bit is my favorite part. And so like just very, like mango is just like, that's my grandpa's fruit. But there's so much food in Rosa. Was that something that you also wanted to purposely put in to be like, these are my people, this is what it's like?
I love food. I love Cuban food. I wanted to put that on the page. There's not the wall of language. There's not, so even if my tongue doesn't roll the right R when I'm saying the word, what I love about food is that it creates such a visceral experience. Setting was huge for me in writing this book. I wanted to create a very tangible place that you could feel like I'm here, because Rosa is in constant conversation with a place she can't go. So I wanted the place that she was in to feel, real and alive. And food to me is such a beautiful way to do that, because it is the thing, that memory, like you said about your, the mango. Like I wanted that touchstone. Food was really important to me because I think it is a way to access culture in a way that calls on memories, a way that calls on a sensory, visceral experience. And it's something we all have, regardless of where we are, regardless of what culture we're coming from, regardless of what our relationship is with that culture. Our memories tend to be intrinsically tied to taste, smell, and there's that feeling of nostalgia, but also of, I wanted to create a setting that somebody could disappear in, a setting that somebody could recall by the taste of a mango, or if the next time somebody goes to their bakery and they get a pastelito, they think about pork coral. And I think that's such a great way to connect with a written text, it's food.
No more needs to be said.
Please.
Yeah, no, and I feel like that definitely works for pork coral too. You did, I feel like, really flesh it out. Like I can hear the dominoes coming down on the board when the viejitos are playing. And I love too, it was somewhat recently announced that you're going to have more stories in Port Coral. Right. Was that always the idea?
That was always the dream. I was a big fan growing up of Sarah Dessen, and I thought it was really great the way she was able to write all these stories that took place in this one town. You would glimpse the band again, or you would see things in passing, and I think that's such a fun experience as a contemporary reader. So the dream was absolutely I put that much work into Port Coral because I wanted to go back. So the opportunity to do that is huge to me, because I want this to be a universe that people can return to, that people feel welcomed. One thing I like to always say is, this is a story about diaspora, it's a story about exile. But if you are questioning, where am I from? Where do I belong? I want Port Coral to feel like this can be your hometown for a little while. For 300 pages, you can just be here, and you can come on back when Our Way Back to Always comes out.
I don't want you to get into spoilers, obviously, but did we maybe meet, casually, one of the newer characters in here, or are they completely new?
You haven't met the main characters yet.
Okay.
They're in the other side of the town square.
Okay.
But you've absolutely met their friends. You will glimpse and see in passing and talk to people from this book, because people have to come on home from on break, and because the story is structured over a year, it's very it's structured by the seasons, so you will see people coming home on Thanksgiving break or whatever it is. But you haven't met the main characters, but a prominent side character is Ana Maria's brother Benny.
Oh, I love him.
I love
him and his turtle quest.
Yeah. And you will see the golden turtle again.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I'm geeked out. Yeah. Oh my God, I love your turtle.
Thank you.
It's so organized.
I try.
Rosa Santos, everybody.
Oh my god, as soon as she pulled out the bullet journal, I was like, this is my girl. Rosa gets
I'm not
me.
that organized. People ask me all the time, are you like Rosa? Are you like Rosa? I had the same questions as Rosa, like culturally, you know, as a teen, trying to figure out where I wanted to go to college, you know, all these kinds of things. I am not organized. You will rarely find me in a dress, but I could go to town on some croquetas, so.
Well, speaking of Rosa, I think especially, it's less of a conversation now, but I remember a few years ago, one of the bigger criticisms of female-centered YA was sort of the Mary Sue and like the really passive character. And from the first page, Rosa is shown as very proactive. She is constantly like on the go. She has a plan. She is moving towards things and is never waiting for them to come to her. Was that an intentional thing?
Oh, absolutely. Like, Rosa came to me in a very specific way where I saw her on that bench and she had her bullet journal and she had her life super organized, but I knew her story was going to be about, well, what happens when your plan doesn't come through? Like, how do you respond to that? How do you make a new plan? How do you, move on, move forward? So I knew she was going to be super organized, super ready to go, super, ready to jump up at a town meeting and, no, we can do this.
Volunteer her time, and everyone else is.
Type A Latina. Like, and that is not me. But that's why I thought it was so great with Amy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I was like, that is Rosa Santos.
I get that on like a very personal.
I love that. I love that. I envy it, but yeah.
But I also love, like, we talk about like her trying to move forward, and I feel like there's also these elements of control that all three of the Santos women really navigate in different ways. Like, the mother is always, I feel like she doesn't feel quite welcome in her hometown and is trying to seek that control and that acceptance in other places, and then like curating beauty in other places. And Mimi is keeping her secrets. How necessary was it for this story to have the three of them really, I think, throughout the entire thing, trying to understand each other and the different ways that they are navigating the world, especially as a Cuban exile, a first generation and a second generation?
The most important. Like, that was, I wouldn't say the biggest struggle, but it was the most crucial thing I had to get right. How are these three generations, which very much represent, to me, past, present, and future, dealing with this curse, dealing with the trauma of exile? Like, my favorite scene that I wrote was a fight between the three of them, and where, Liliana, Rosa's mom, is like, how am I the villain, in this story? Because she is doing, I don't think she's villain. I know some people struggle with her, but it's the way she's dealing with the trauma is to the best of her ability, and she would love to go to somewhere else with Rosa, but she knows Rosa's happiest here, so she tries. So I didn't want to villainize a mother-daughter relationship. It's complicated between Rosa and Liliana. It's complicated between Liliana and Mimi. But I also wanted to show that sometimes our own relationships with our family is complicated, with our homeland is complicated, and yet we are still so defined. We are still so proud of that. So that the relationship between the mother, daughter, and grandmother here is very much meeting in conversation with, how do I talk about Cuba and talk about what Cuba is to me, talk about my father, talk about these complicated relationships that we have with home, family, and culture.
So another thing that comes up quite a lot is just the idea of ritual and curandera. Like, Mimi does a lot of, she's the healer of Port Coral. How important to you was it to have it in there, and also to, I think, distinguish between this idea of, especially like in Cuba, like Santeria, Brujeria, and sort of the negative connotations those still have, even though we're moving away from it a little bit, but.
No, that was super important to me too, and that was also another thing that I was very careful. I felt like that's my heirloom that I was afraid to sort of touch, or, and with, Santeria and stuff like that, there's a lot of secrecy, and so how do I show her interacting with it in a way that's natural for a lot of us, and it's the way we've adapted a lot of these rituals. It's the way we've continued them while still being super protective of where they came from, what they need, that, you know, these aren't just accessories, or, you know, that there's meaning to this. But it's also hers to interact with. So that's why it was really important for her to have like the altar in her room with, you know, her dad and her grandfather's picture, and, you know, she's clumsy about it and she's not, but it's her relationship to have with her faith. It's her relationship to grow and lean into and define in a way that works for her, while still honoring all these cultural elements that are important to her that she's learned from Mimi. I'm not showing you how to do it. Like, I'm not. It's not a guidebook. I'm not. You know, there's no test at the end. Like, did you? You know,
did you get it?
But I want it, especially for, you know, young readers who are maybe exploring these ideas for themselves and finding out, you know, can I? Should I? I want them to know that these are your things too, and if you want to access them, let yourself do it. You know, and let yourself do it in a way that's mindful and respectful. But it's, I just feel like there's so many things that are so hands off for us, and we're so afraid to let them become ours in a way that we need them to be. And I want people to engage with our culture in a way that's comfortable for them, that's right for them, but also to not constantly feel at every turn that, well, that's not really yours. You know?
Yeah, I think like across different Latinx experiences, there's all of this idea of like expectation.
Yeah.
That all of us struggle with.
I feel like we are all trying in our own individual ways to heal some degree of generational trauma while still celebrating who we are, because it's great. It's awesome to be Latinx, you know. But there's just so many ways in which we're told that, well, you're not doing it right. Well, you didn't receive it in the right way. You didn't, you know. Breathe. Get your croqueta, get your pastelito. You know, if you want to, you know, engage with your ancestors, learn about it. But it's yours. Those are your relationships to have, and they're there for you to have.
So moving a little bit away from the book, because I also want to keep this a little spoiler free so that people who haven't read it will just like get jazzed, because you should be reading it. Are there any sort of fandom items, especially now there's like so many book boxes and stuff, there's so much swag coming out. I know there's already a candle that we have for Mimi. Are there any sort of like dream fandom items that you like kind of want to see, either for this book or just like for Port Coral, like your universe in general?
I would love to see like Port Coral stuff. I would love to see like a t-shirt from the bodega. Like, I would love, people have mentioned, I mean, it's not merch, but if the Viejitos actually had an Instagram.
I would love their Instagram.
I would die.
Oh my God.
I would die. Like, being able to just sort of interact with the universe, and that to me would just be the coolest thing. Because, you know, in writing in contemporary, you know, fandom is so different than, you know, with fantasy and everything. So being such a settings forward story, I would love to see, you know, interaction with Port Coral, especially, you know, with the hopes of expanding and continuing to tell stories in this universe. But yeah, I would love to see like something about the bookshop, or, you know, something, you know, the ice cream store, and a map. A map would be amazing.
Yeah.
Like, tell me where everything is. I'm not quite sure.
The turtle map.
Yeah, right. I actually do have a golden turtle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was this like before you wrote the book?
No.
Or?
I found it after. And so I took a picture with it at the store because I was like, this is amazing. And my editor was like, what? And then I, of course, had to buy it.
Yeah. Because it was for you.
I know, right? Yeah. I guess the golden turtle.
So my last question is, it's about to be Latinx Heritage Month as we speak. Do you have any books that you are planning to read for it?
Right.
Anything that you're like looking forward to getting to in the next month or so?
I'm really excited about reading Jen Cervantes' next one, The Firekeeper. Like, I love that series, and the Rick Riordan imprint is so exciting.
I love Rick Riordan.
I know.
Yes.
And like, Taylor has one coming out, and I still haven't read it.
Paulo Santiago, right?
Yeah, Paulo Santiago. Yeah. Watching her write that has been one of the like coolest things.
Oh, I'm sure the cover was gorgeous.
Who's coming up? Yeah, I've been so obsessed lately with Maika Maritz's Dear Haiti Little Lane. Like, I'm constantly talking to people about that, but please read this book. It just came out. Read the book. But yeah, Library of Lost Things. Cuban American author, and I'm so excited to read that one. But I'm also super dying to read her next one.
Oh yeah.
The Cuban
Guide to Sweaters.
A Cuban Girl's Guide to Sweater and Stars.
Yes.
Like, if that doesn't sound like it hits every single like trope, romantic, while still like navigating culture identity, like a Miami bakery heiress going to England.
Yeah, she's studying abroad. Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. I want Cuban American stories everywhere. Like, I want my Anne and the French Kiss. I want, you know, the scary stuff, the cool stuff. Well, maybe not the scary stuff.
I want the scary stuff.
You want the scary
I'll
stuff.
take the scary stuff.
I'll take the scary stuff. But yeah, I just want us taking up space everywhere in every different way.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, so I think that's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for coming on here. I'm so glad we got to meet. But everyone should check out Don't Date Rosa Santos. It came out earlier this year. It is here. It's been out. It's available. And then the next book,
one, Our Way Back to Always, comes out spring of 2021, which I'm told is a real year.
When is my arc coming? When?
I got the Latinx one. Don't worry, I got y'all.
All right, so thank you again, and I'll be back with another video shortly. Bye.
Thank you so much for asking. It's awesome.
Yeah, I was like taking notes the last time I went through. I like tabbed it up too, of like all of the places. And I was like, yes, yes. And I was wondering also if you could sign it.